A regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District will be held Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026, beginning at 5:30 p.m. in the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom of the Administration Building of the McAllen Independent School District, 2000 North 23rd Street, McAllen, Texas 78501. Items listed on this agenda may be taken in an order other than is shown on this agenda. Unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within the consent agenda will be acted on at one time. At this meeting, there may be discussion and action by the board on the items and subjects listed as follows. Number 1, call the meeting to order. I've done so at 5:31 p.m. Item number 2, a moment of silence. Thank you. Item number 3, the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 4, public comments.
I pledge
Here are the public comment procedures.
We're just having trouble with the volume.
Yeah.
Got it?
Here are the public comment procedures. Number 1, individuals who wish to participate during the portion of the meeting designated for public comment shall sign up at McAllenisd.org at least 1 hour prior to the start of the scheduled meeting. Number 2, an individual's comments to the board shall... Here are the public comment procedures. Number 1, individuals who wish to participate during the portion of the meeting designated for public comment shall sign up at McAllenisd.org at least 1 hour prior to the start of the scheduled meeting. Number 2, an individual's comments to the board shall not exceed 2 minutes per meeting. Number 3, the board shall not tolerate disruption of the meeting by members of the audience. Thank you.
Información a personas para comentarios públicos. Número 1. Las personas que deseen participar durante la parte de la reunión designada por comentarios públicos deberán registrarse en McAllenisd.org al menos 1 hora antes del inicio de la reunión programada. Número 2. Los comentarios de un individuo a la Junta no excederán de 2 minutos por reunión. Y por último, número 3. La Junta no tolerará la perturbación de la reunión por parte de los miembros del público asistente. Gracias.
And with that, we will welcome the first speaker tonight, Fran Siller.
Good evening. My name is Fran Siller, and I'm here tonight representing a group of parents and student athletes involved in the Nikki Rowe cross-country program. First, we want to express our appreciation for the district's commitment to athletics, student development, and academic excellence. We understand that leadership decisions are complex and that district policies and procedures exist for important reasons. However, many parents and athletes have concerns regarding recent changes within the cross-country program and the manner in which those decisions were communicated and implemented. Families have attempted to follow the appropriate channels to seek clarification and understanding. While those opportunities have been appreciated, many questions remain unanswered, leaving parents and student athletes with concerns about transparency, consistency, and whether established processes were followed in a manner that prioritized the well-being of students. Our concerns are based primarily on the impact that decisions have had on students' morale, team stability, athlete preparation, and confidence within the program. For many students, athletics provide not only competition, but also mentorship, structure, discipline, and personal growth. We respectfully ask the board and the district leadership to carefully review whether the district procedures and personnel protocols were properly followed, whether all parties were given fair and appropriate consideration, and whether the best interests of the student athletes were prioritized throughout the process. Families were also disappointed during the recent end-of-season banquet, where the contributions and recognitions of those coaches were omitted from the award certificates and attendance. Those athletes and parents, they felt dismissive with the dedication, accomplishments, and leadership that helped build the program. We are not here to create conflict or assign blame. We are here to respectfully advocate for transparency, accountability, and consistent adherence to district policy and process. Most importantly, we ask that the voices and experiences of the students, athletes remain at the center of these discussions as they are individuals mostly impacted. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Siller. Our next speaker is Herschel Patel.
Oh boy, all right. Good evening. Herschel Patel, dad of 3 McAllen ISD princesses. There's not much I can say anymore that you wouldn't expect me to say. Today I want to address every stakeholder, trustees, admins, every parent, every teacher, every member of the CNP team, every student. Good nutrition starts at home, but at school, ironically, there's a de-education of nutrition that occurs because grown adults are handing our kids a bunch of junk food. Anyone who tells you that the chicken pancake bites, the chicken sandwiches, the chicken tenders, and even the hash browns are not battered and fried products are lying to you. Anyone who says that federal guidelines require the district to purchase Lucky Charms and hot dogs is lying to you. Anyone who says that silent lunches aren't happening or that fruit juice is a government requirement is lying to you. Removing fruit juice from the menu caused a 4% drop in participation alone. Never mind the 4 other sugary items that were dropped at the same time. There were 40 other distinct items served at breakfast in April. When juice was removed, teachers had to bring sliced bread to school to keep kids from going hungry. Our children chose plain sliced bread over 40 other items because there was no fruit juice. What does that tell you about kids' preferences? What does that tell you about a menu that relies entirely on sugar to drive participation? According to the real data that I was able to compile, savory breakfast items, entrees, outperform every other sweet item on participation rates. And yet sweet items are offered twice as often. There's a big problem with the food, but there's a really good foundation for improving the food. I just feel like we're refusing to acknowledge either of those facts. I'm not the one that's supposed to be telling you all this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Patel. And lastly, we have George Rice. He's not here. Okay. I don't believe Mr. Rice is here. So that will conclude our public comment. We will now move to item number 5, public hearing to discuss the 2026-2027 budget and proposed 2026 tax rate. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, we welcome a public hearing. In this hearing, we will be discussing the fiscal year of 2026-2027 budget and propose the 2025 tax rate. Ms. Lorena Garcia, Deputy Superintendent for Business and Operations, will proceed with the presentation. Go ahead, Ms. Garcia.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, President Regalado, members of the board, and Dr. Gutierrez. Before I begin, I would like to again express my appreciation for your support, our appreciation for your support as a board and also our superintendent in the feedback that we've received in planning this budget. With your input, we have made this a successful budget preparation. Last week, we had our 6th budget workshop where we presented a near final report on the proposed 26-27 budget. So tonight's public hearing is to bring the final budget that's being presented and give the public an opportunity to provide comments if they so choose to. This is, of course, our board that has been leading the process. And in addition, we also have our administrative staff that I'd also like to acknowledge and thank for all of their hard work. Also, especially our business office team that has been diligently working since January on this budget process. First, I'd like to start off by letting you know that there are some required postings that we have to undertake, and the district has complied with all of those. The first one is the public notice. This one was published in the newspaper. It was published on June 10th, 2026 in compliance with the law. I would also like to provide you with the tax rate history as well as the proposed 26-27 tax year 26 tax rate. We are recommending that we remain again at 93 cents, 93.22 cents, the same as last year, and maintaining that. The district has been lowering the tax rate, as you can see, since 2020 and actually beyond that. And, you know, that is great for our public, our community. Another required posting, this is new, is a taxpayer impact statement. The impact statement provides an analysis to our homeowners what their tax bill may look like compared to last year. So in 2025, the median value homestead was $122,465, and this year it's actually $98,988. Now, at the same tax rate, the 93.22 cents, last year they would have paid $1,141.62, and this year, this coming year, it would be $922.77. So this is a reduction for our taxpayers. And this was also posted, but this was posted on our website on June 10th of 2026. We also have a budget summary report. This one is also a required posting. It's posted on our website and will remain on there. It's been on there since June 10th, 2026. It provides a side-by-side comparison of the 25-26 actual budget to the 26-27 proposed budget, and it's organized by the different functions. The next slide shows our revenues by object code. As you can see, the proposed budget has revenues of approximately $283 million. And then we are having two draws, one from the maintenance tax notes. What is happening there is that we had some interest earnings from the maintenance tax note 2011 that was recently paid off, and that interest earning can only be used to pay off maintenance tax notes, so we're utilizing it to make next year's payment. In addition to that, we are making a draw to the 199 general fund in the amount of $2.9 million. And the chart also provides a comparison to the original budget of 25-26 so that you can see the differences. In 26-27, we are planning our average daily attendance at 17,522, which we know that average daily attendance is one of the key factors in driving our revenue that we receive from the state. We have the same information that is being provided by the different programs, which are the fund numbers. As you can see, it has the proposed budget for 26-27, as well as the original budget of 25-26, and then it gives you a difference. And you might see some things pop out, like for example, special education. There's an increase from last year. Original budget in the amount of $2.3 million, and the reason for that is because our special ed services have increased. We do have a greater population of students that need services, so that brings in additional revenue. In addition to that, the teacher retention allotment, at the time that we prepared last year's budget, we did not have the final say from the legislature in terms of the new funding formulas, so we did not have the teacher retention allotment. That was brought in by an amendment later on, so that's why you see that not there. The appropriations by object code, this gives you an idea how much we are paying by the different category, which is our payroll costs, professional and contracted services, supplies and materials, other operating costs, debt service, and capital outlay. Again, we do bring a comparison to the original budget as well. The majority of our budget is spent on payroll costs because it is a labor-intensive, education is a labor-intensive industry. We're at 82.52% of payroll costs. The accelerated instruction funds, we are required to provide a report on that. This is funded through state compensatory fund in the amount of $196,517, and that is for our at-risk students. The budget summary, once again, we are providing that information by function. The board approves the budget at the functional level, so we provide a breakdown by the different function. As you can see, instruction is the driver of most of the expenditures. That's the greater of the amount that's appropriated. The rest is used to pay things such as transportation, textbooks, utilities, services, insurance, and so forth, and it's spread out in the different functions. We have a projected fund balance at the end of 25-26 of $95 million. This is our unassigned. The projected fund balance after the draw that we mentioned of 2.9 planned use from the general fund balance would be at 92 million, and the projected operational days would still be in compliance with district policy at 132 days, and the minimum that we are required to have is 75 days. So we are well over that, even with the draw on the additional funds. So at this time, I'd like to remind everybody that everything we do is for our students, and our budget was prepared with that in mind. Also, we prioritize our employees, making sure that we take care of our employees and to continue and provide that support for our students. We now will open it up for questions or comments if anybody has any information they would like to share.
Do we have anybody in the public that would like to make a comment or ask a question? I don't see anybody. Okay.
That concludes the public hearing.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Now moving on to item number 6, consent agenda items. 6A, consent agenda items.
I'd like to move to approve items 6A through 6AA.
A motion by trustee Rivera. Is there a second?
Second.
I think that was a second by trustee Haddad. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Now on to item number 7, instructional services, instructional leadership, human resources, business and operations, and Board of Trustees items. 7A, instructional services, instructional leadership items. A1, report regarding the intention to apply for federal grants. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, for any federal grants, the districts are required to inform the Board of Trustees of any intention to apply. Dr. Rosalba de Hoyos, Associate Superintendent for Instructional Services, will have more information on this item, and this item is for information purposes only.
Good afternoon. Here are the federal grants that we have the intention to apply, and as soon as we have the...
It's loading.
Okay. So we have Title I, Part A, Title II, Part A, Title IV, Part A, Title I, Part C, and Dr. Cindy Olivares is the grant manager, and she's the one that will be applying for these grants. These are grants that we regularly apply for, and the amount sometimes changes, but the purpose for each of the grants are listed there. And if you have any questions, we're here to answer those questions, or Dr. Olivares will be here too. Moving on also is Perkins V, the CTE 21st Century Grant will be managed by Mr. Leo Sines, and the application will be submitted by Mr. Sines as well. Then moving on to Special Education Consolidated Grant IDEA B Formula and B Preschool, and that will be managed by Maribel Elizondo and submitted by Maribel Elizondo as well. And she's here also as Mr. Sines to answer any questions. And then moving on to the discretionary for deaf grant. Ms. Lisa Lara will be the grant manager and also the one that will be submitting the application. And then we have Title III, Part A for ELA, and Ms. Rocio Nava will be the one that will be submitting the application and will be the manager. And then we have Employment and Training Administration. That will be Ms. Laura Williams. So if you have any questions, we're here to answer them. But these are the grants that we will be applying for this year.
Thank you, Dr. De Hoyos. One question.
Yes.
How is the administration managing the potential risk of cancellation of federal programs or reduction in federal funding?
Well, we haven't heard of any right now, but really these are supplemental. And so if we would need to take care of some of the expenses, we will have to take care of them through 199.
Okay, thank you.
Does anybody else have any other comments or questions? Thank you, Dr. Doyles. Item 7A2, report regarding school health and related services program. Dr. Gutierrez.
The special education the department will report on the school health and related services SHARS program. Ms. Elizondo, our executive director for special education, will have more information on this item. And this item is also for information purposes only. Ms. Elizondo?
Good afternoon, Board President, Board Trustees, Superintendent Dr. Gutierrez. I'm going to be presenting on school health and related services as it pertains to special education department. So every year, the special education department bills SHARS for all the services that we provide for the year, including special education services, transportation services, and medical services. Once a year, we complete a cost report that is completed to determine the annual reimbursement amount for the previous fiscal year. MISD for 2024 had an average of $800,000 for the fiscal year in billing and cost report settlement combined. We received interim payments of $1.4 million for 2024. So we anticipate possibly repaying back $618,394,000 due to overpayment with the law change. But McAllen ISD did file an appeal for 2024 cost report on May 5th, 2026. We're waiting to hear back from Texas Health and Human Services on next steps for that appeal. So what are we appealing? We're appealing Medicaid eligible student count and one-way trip ratios, appealing Medicaid eligible student count in IEP and one-way trip ratios, direct medical service costs, transportation service costs, and Medicaid allowable costs. All of that is for the 2024 appeal. Besides the 24 appeal that we submitted on May 5th, we also received a response for our 2022 appeal. It was denied, and that means it's going to be going to a federal court. And at that time, we'll find out if we're going to receive a settlement or we're going to owe the settlement amount of $391,000. So next steps is really waiting on Texas Health and Human Services for them to give us a response, and assign an attorney to represent the state, assign a judge, and then McAllen ISD to hire an attorney to represent us in that appeal. So here's a quick overview of the past 3 years for SHARS and the fiscal year's billing. You can clearly see that in 2022, we had a total interim payments that we received of $1.6 million. Total Medicaid allowable costs that we billed for was $1.9 million. Final settlement amount was $391,509. So for 2022, we filed an informal appeal, and it got denied. Then we filed a formal appeal, and it got dismissed this year, 3/26. So next steps, going to federal court, and then really finding out, are we going to get repaid that amount, additional funds, or are we going to have to pay back? So for 2023, we received $1.1 million in interim payments. We had total Medicaid allowable cost of over $1.8 million. We had a final settlement of $14,779. For 2023, we filed an informal appeal, and it was denied. So next steps, we filed a formal appeal on May 14th of 2025. And we're currently waiting to find out what's going to happen. Are we going to receive additional funds, or are we going to have to pay back? So for fiscal year 2024, that's the one I just finished talking about, we had total interim payments of over $1.4 million, total Medicaid allowable cost of $1.3 million. Final settlement amount was $618,394. We have already filed an informal appeal, and it was denied. So the next steps, we filed a formal appeal on May 5th, and we're, again, waiting to receive to decide if we're gonna get additional funds or we're gonna have to repay. All of these settlement adjustments shown above are currently under appeal, and it's subject to change based on the outcome of all of the appeals. So that concludes my report on SHAR's billing. Is there any questions? It's a lot of information.
Ms. Elizondo, this is a dilemma that every district is going through, right, with denials of some of those claims, and that just about every district is filing appeals because of loss of funding?
Correct, sir. Every district in the state of Texas is filing informal appeals and then appeals. Our district has decided not only to file the informal, but to file the appeal and take it to federal court.
And, sorry, you might have mentioned it. Is this a federal issue or a state issue, or is it?
So what happened was back, they went back all the way to 2018, sir. In 2022, they decided Texas Health Services decided to change the way we bill in the state of Texas without getting approval through the federal courts. And
So
they
the
told.
feds are disallowing at the state level, and then they're recouping
Yes.
from us, is that it?
So what happens is that they listen, Health and Human Services listens and looks at all of our informal appeal. Then they also look at our formal appeal. Then they give us a response. Based on that, then we go to federal court. But they did it all after the fact. Districts were already billing the way that we have always been allowed to bill. So that's what happened. But they did go back all the way to 2018. The only reason we didn't file an informal appeal or a formal appeal for 2018 is because we were not allowed to. No district in the state of Texas was allowed to.
And this is after we train our staff with their guidance.
That's correct. Mhm. Yeah. But again, it's important to state that it's every district in the state of Texas.
Any other questions?
No?
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Elizondo.
Thank you, Ms. Elizondo.
Okay, item 7.3, discussion and possible action for the approval of donation of Dr. Carlos Castañeda Elementary.
Yes, this evening we have a donation by Dr. Carlos Castañeda Elementary. Mrs. Janet Nino, our Associate Superintendent for Instructional Leadership, will provide more information, and we're recommending action on this item. Ms. Nino, you have any information on this item, on the donation?
Yes, thank you, sir. And we recently had a visit from the Castañeda family to our campus. And after that visit, they were generous to give us a $15,000 donation to the campus. They did not want to be acknowledged in receipt of that, but definitely want to support future student outcomes and goals at that campus. So that is the information being presented today for the donation on behalf of the Dr. Carlos Castañeda family.
This is for action.
I move to approve the donation, excuse me, move to approve the donation for Dr. Carlos Castaneda Elementary.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Haddad and a second by trustee Peña. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you to the generous family.
Absolutely, thank you.
Item 7.4, discussion and possible action on request for cooperative quote number 2027-1005, third-party Medicaid billing services. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, administration solicited cooperative quotes for third-party Medicaid billing services. Ms. Maribel Elizondo, our Executive Director for Special Education, is available to answer questions. Administration is recommending action on this item.
We are recommending a change in the evaluation scoring sheet. This change was discovered after the scoring sheet was posted to Board Book, so we could not make any changes. There's a section where we require 3 reference letters, and MSB did not submit any, so they did not receive any points on that. Onward submitted 3 letters. However, they did not receive the full points because they were from 2 different districts. And in checking with legal counsel, we looked at how the question was worded, and we weren't specific enough to say 3 different districts. So technically, even though it's 2 districts, they should get the full points. So that would put them at the lead at number 1. Onward would be number 1, and MSB would be number 2.
Okay. I was looking at that also, and I was also noticing the price there, which they got the
They're
points for.
lower, yes, they are lower.
Well, I don't want to make a motion if anybody wants to discuss. I move to approve the ranking for request for cooperative quotes number 2027-1005, third-party Medicaid billing services.
And to clarify, if I second that motion, I'm moving to approve Onward.
Yes, sir.
I second.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee Haddad. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Madam President, I move to approve that administration begin contract negotiations with the highest-ranked firm, Onward. If the district is unable to negotiate a satisfactory contract with the selected firm, the district shall formally and in writing end negotiations with that firm and proceed to the next firm in the order of the selection ranking until a contract is reached or all submittals are rejected.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second by trustee Peña. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Madam President, I move to authorize the superintendent to execute the contract and related documents for a period of 1 year commencing upon execution of contract with the option to renew for 3 additional 1-year terms.
Second.
A motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee Peña. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. That takes us to item 7B, Human Resources item 7B1, discussion and possible action of MISD. I believe this was pulled, right?
Yes, Madam President and Board of Trustees, if we may pull out this item and for a further meeting after we come back from the summer break.
Okay, yes, very well. That takes us to item 7B2, discussion and possible action by the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District to delegate the superintendent authority to hire Chapter 21 contract and/or professional at-will employees. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, as per DC legal policy, the board may delegate final authority for those decisions to the superintendent. Administration is recommending that the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District grant the superintendent authority to hire Chapter 21 contract on and/or professional at-will employees. Dr. Canales, our Chief Human Resources Officer, will have more information on this item. We're recommending action on this item. And just to summarize, during the summer break, since we're not having any meetings until probably August, the first week of August, we do have vacancies and resignations, and we're asking for the board to authorize me to hire staff so that we don't lose highly qualified staff to surrounding districts. This is a practice that generally every district does at this time of the year that allows superintendents the authority to hire. Of course, every employee that will be hired under my authority, we would bring a list to the board at our upcoming meeting, in the first meeting in August, so that the board is aware of all the employees that were hired during the time that I was authorized to hire those employees.
This is for action.
I move to delegate to the superintendent authority to hire Chapter 21 contract and/or professional and at-will employees from June 24th, 2026 through August 11th, 2026.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Haddad and a second by trustee Rivera. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Item 7C, business and operations items. C1, report regarding child nutrition program strategic plan. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, the Child Nutrition Program is committed to providing nutritious, high-quality meals that promote student health and academic success. Ms. Sonia Esquivel, our Director for Child Nutrition Programs, will have more details on this plan, strategic plan, and this item is for information purposes only. Ms. Esquivel?
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to share with y'all today. Today's presentation is designed to provide a clear roadmap for the department's goals and the action steps that we will take to achieve them. This presentation serves as an overview and is part of a more in-depth plan that I believe you've received separately. So we'll go ahead and get started. So this slide highlights our mission and vision, which guides all of our work as a department. So our mission is to support the achievement of students by expanding access to high-quality, nutritious meals that nourish both the body and mind. We are committed to providing these meals in a safe and welcoming environment while also promoting nutrition education and importance of healthy eating. And our vision is to create a generation of students who value nutrition and wellness as a lifeline priority. Together, our mission and vision serve as our foundation of our goals and the work that we do every day to support student success. So goal number 1 is to increase scratch cooking from 17% to 71%, which is a 54% increase over 3 years, to improve meal freshness, improve nutritional quality, and support student health and academic success. This is an increase of 18% year after year. And for the purpose of this plan, definition of scratch cooking is meals prepared using whole, fresh ingredients with an emphasis on the use of raw proteins, whole grains, and fresh fruit and vegetables. As we roll out our August 2026 menu, it will reflect some improvements to our breakfast meal servings. So we have changed our cereal, and there are other scratch cook items that will be on the menu. But again, as I've presented before in previous board presentations, the new menu rollout timeline will be a gradual rollout. So you will see in October of 2026, 2 new breakfast items, as well as 2 side side servings, either veggies or fruit changed. January of 2027, we will introduce raw beef entree for lunch, and then March of 2027, we will do an additional 2 to 3 additional menu items. Please note that popular menu items that are well-liked by students will still continue to be offered as long as they are within our nutritional guidelines. These changes support balanced meals, lowered added sugars, and increased scratch minimally processed items. This phase approach helps us manage implementing and monitoring student responses. And then the resources needed to implement this plan is staff engagement and training to ensure successful implementation of the new menu, tracking mechanism to monitor menu development and progress towards goals. And this mechanism has already been started for the year. Student acceptance of the new menu to facilitate equipment upgrades. So this is crucial as our funding and ability to remain self-sustaining department relies on student participation. This will ensure that the district will not need to subsidize our program at the end of the school year. Improving operational efficiencies to support the expansion of scratch cooking. And then we will also be partnering with the Eat Real organization in the upcoming fall cohort. That would make us one of 5 school districts in Texas who will participate with this program. And they provide child nutrition programs with structured frameworks to make school menus delicious, nutritious, and more importantly, sustainable. We have also submitted an application with the Chef and organization for a 1-year cohort that starts in November. We're pending acceptance letter on that, and that was done in the spring. For goal number 2, it is to improve cafeteria equipment and operational efficiencies to support scratch cooking. This is important because we need to ensure that staff have the appropriate equipment and facilities needed to perform their job efficiently and responsibly, reducing equipment downtime and minimizing the need for additional labor while supporting high-quality scratch cooking. This will be an ongoing goal, as upgrades will need to be gradual as funding allows. This is tied closely to goal number 1. Participation drives our funding, which will drive our ability to continue to provide equipment upgrades. This year, we have already started a comprehensive equipment tracking system, which is being developed to help us plan and budget more effectively as a department. Goal number 3 is to strengthen financial stability. This goal ensures that the child nutrition program remains a stable and sufficient fund balance to support daily operations, strategic investment, and unexpected financial needs, while maintaining compliance with all federal, state, and local financial guidelines. To remain financially stable, we face some challenges, as the district does too, right? So one of the ones that is always a topic is decrease in student enrollment. So student enrollment also affects child nutrition, as we can only feed students who are who are at school. So creating appealing menus that students enjoy will also be monitored, as this is crucial for maintaining financial stability. We will closely monitor this, that students are accepting the new menu items, so that we can remain financially sustainable, and again, ensuring that the district would never have to subsidize our program. Other approaches that we're looking at is also increasing a la carte sales for the department, and limiting the sales to only child nutrition programs. That is an option to help sustain our program. As a district, we will maintain our participation goal of 80% for breakfast and lunch and 11% for dinner. Achieving these goals will ensure that we remain financially stable. This year, we concluded the year with our breakfast was at 72.16. We ended at 80.7 for lunch and 10.38 for dinner. For goal number 4, it is to evaluate food service staff through culinary. Elevate food service staff through culinary training and professional development. This will be key because with our food service staff, when they are well equipped with the necessary tools and resources, they can perform at a higher level. This will be ongoing, but the kickoff to this will be when they return back from summer break. We already have a half-day culinary training planned at our central kitchen, where they will get menu demos and other trainings like knife skills. So that is already planned out for our staff, just to set the tone for as we're getting all of these goals in place. So just getting our staff prepared for that. Another part of information that I wanted to give you as we consider the strategic plan. I did want to talk about our breakfast menu options, and the difference between offer versus serve. So as a department, we are required to offer four components. Students must take 3. Okay. So in this example, you will see our entree options. Most of our entree options, or actually all of our entree options, count as 2 items. That's one food component. We are required to offer 1 cup of fruit or juice or vegetable, and they do have to be different. So that is a requirement. Milk is another requirement that we are, 2 types of milk are required. And so I wanted to kind of just show you what our breakfast would look like. So for this example, fruit and milk are required components. CMP must offer daily. As shown in the example, entree 1, the total sugars are 43.2 grams, of which 41 come from required components. Again, this is offer versus serve. Students are only required to take 3, so they can take their entree. And the only other requirement is they have to take a half a cup of fruit or juice. So CMP will focus on added sugars while maintaining compliance with required meal components. In April, we did remove juice from breakfast meal service, resulting in a 4% decrease in participation. After juice was reintroduced in May, participation returned back the 4% in the month of May.
Ms. Sonia, do you mind if I ask about that?
Mm-hmm.
So do we know if that's directly attributable to the juice?
That's the only thing we returned. We did not return anything else.
What about removal of the other breakfast items, the sugary bars and that kind of thing?
Well, we didn't, I mean, you would just kind of assume if you brought back the juice and it brought it back up the 4 points, that could have played a part in the reduction. The other items that were removed, we just didn't allow it to go much further than that. I don't know what else it would have done. Well, we'll know into the new year because we've already taken those out.
And do we plan on looking at removing juice in the future, or, you know?
We're looking at maybe some veggie juices that we can bring in. You know, some of the comments from managers were it's really students want something to drink with their taco, you know, and as much, we do have milk. We are, one of the other things, sorry, I should have mentioned, is we are taking flavored milk away from the breakfast menu, so it'll only be unflavored milk. So we are required to do 2 types, so it will be fat-free and 1%. So that is coming off from our breakfast offerings.
And what, I guess, do you know what, and I'm sorry you don't have the numbers, if you don't, what percentage of the takings are flavored milk currently?
I don't have the percentage in front of me. It's definitely higher than unflavored milk.
And do we have, I guess, how do we, if we see a similar drop in participation, how do we address? Because I think we all share the same goal of providing our students with healthy options, less sugar.
Right. I think the milk is not going to affect it as much. You don't have as much milk drinking in the morning as you think. Like, you think because you have milk, they're going to take the milk. They don't take the milk as often.
Okay.
So really, it's like all of us, right? We eat a taco and we want something to kind of wash it down with, and milk is not the choice that they choose. They want a 4-ounce juice. But we are looking, again, like I said, we are looking at seeing if there's like a veggie option juice, because we are allowed to do a veggie. So that's something that we're looking into.
And when we removed the juice, what did we put in its place?
Another fruit.
Like a apple,
We have to
pear,
do
or something?
two different types options. So apple, banana, orange, apple.
Okay.
Which the banana has more sugar than the juice, way
Right.
more sugar.
28 grams of sugar.
What about, on the milk, what about a non-dairy option, like an almond milk or something? Is there, I mean, maybe kids just don't like dairy milk or can't drink dairy.
Yeah, we don't get reimbursed for that. It has to be, dairy milk.
Well, I'm glad you talked about real food, and Chef Ann, maybe they have some experience in what we can do to replace juice without
Yeah.
the, you know.
Yeah, and like I said, it's something we're already looking into, you know, because it's just trying to see if, is there a veggie option, you know, that would be a good option that students wouldn't really realize it's veggies.
Are there veggie juices out there that?
There is
for
one that we
challenges?
currently use. We use it for dinner, but I don't know that the style of it is as great. It looks like a Capri Sun. So, you know, we're just looking for something else that maybe doesn't look like that. Mhm. And then the other is, as we make these changes, we want to be mindful of the upcoming potential community eligibility change. The first factor is our enrollment decrease. So seeing a decrease in EcoDisc numbers as well. So changes to benefit eligibility may change the percentage of students who qualify for free meals. So currently, our CEP renewal will expire at the end of the 26-27 school year. We certified 4 years ago, and we must renew. So currently, 90.32% of total meals are reimbursed at the free rate. And at this current trend, it shows that we might end up at 77.37 of the total meal reimbursement at the free rate. I did notate on here that while there is could decrease, reimbursement rate could also increase. We don't know what that is. And, you know, I wouldn't count on it being too high, but that could also change some of the numbers that I'm going to show you on the next slide. So we did just do what that would look like in the October. We used our actual October claim. And you can see on the October claim, we were reimbursed for breakfast and lunch at $2.1 million. Should we see the change in CEP go down to the 77.37 of free and 22.62 of paid, the reimbursement would be at 1.9. So that is a total change in revenue of $27,000. I ran that across the 10 months using our claim from August to July 2nd, and just using, again, I'm just using numbers that we have at this point, not taking into account that reimbursement could also play a part. It would be at $2.1 million. So just making sure that, you know, as we're rolling out these menu developments, it's crucial that we ensure that we are just taking a look at the participation because that is directly tied to our reimbursement and the ability for us to continue to remain financially stable.
And then if we did see that, and this might be more of a question for Ms. Garcia, if we did see a $2.7 million drop in CMPU revenue, what would that mean for our budget or to make up for the difference?
Maybe the first and going into the second year, they could cover the difference with their fund balance, but after that, it would have to be self-sustainable. Otherwise, we would have to supplement with the general fund. However, we do have some strategies that we're working on, like, for example, reducing labor costs, reducing the food costs. The a la carte sales was another one, implementing that. And of course, increasing the participation rate so that reimbursement can be greater, so that we can prepare for that drop that we're going to see next year, the following year.
So
Just-
sorry, this would be 27, 28, the drop?
27, 28.
Okay.
Yes.
And just a clarification on the change in eligibility. So to me, it looks like a very big swing from 25, 26 to 27, 28. But if I heard you correctly, part of the reason that the swing looks so big is the balance between free meals and paid meals in the 25-26 school year was actually set 4 years prior.
Correct.
So there's 4 years worth of
Correct.
enrollment and demographic shift, not just 1 year.
Correct.
enrollment and demographic shift.
Yes, you certify
Thank
and
you.
then you kind of lock in your rate. And
Yeah.
then, like, let's just say if we were to certify at the 77 that I'm saying, but a
Yep.
year later, we look at it and we can actually go higher,
Mhm.
we would recertify.
Okay.
And then lastly is just our central kitchen project, which will help us to get towards scratch cooking. And this is just an overview. Estimated cost of $1 million. It includes the dishwasher, implementing a blast chiller, which will help central kitchen to prepare raw beef and send it out. So where it's being cooked centralized and being sent out, it would help with labor cost as well, because ensuring that the food reaches temperature at the right time or in a shorter amount of time will reduce labor. And then replacing braziers. And so we have scheduled, we're up to Thursday, where we will meet with half. And then the rest of the timeline is on this slide.
And can I ask, on the braziers, do we currently have braziers, or we just need extra?
We do, but we included them in here only because of the cost of replacing 3 for central kitchen that started to have problems. So we just included it in here it's going to be just a drop and play. It's not going to be included with the engineering part of it.
And then with the bond projects in certain campuses seeing, cafeteria remodels, expansions, are we able to use some of those monies, I guess, to purchase equipment or something that would otherwise go to the central kitchen, but we could cook meals at those campuses for the entire district? Is that, that was inartfully said, but do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, I think for the purpose of introducing raw beef to the campus, our plan is to cook it centrally at Central Kitchen and then send it out to the campuses that way. So that way there's more control of and less potential hazard out at the campuses as a start, because then you have to make sure that all your staff is trained, and there's more monitoring having to be done with raw beef at campuses.
And then, I didn't want to interrupt you, but do you mind if we go back to
Sure.
the first goal?
Sure.
So, one, I want to thank you for all the time that you have put into this, and to the CMP and all your staff. This is extremely important for our kids. You are what you eat, and I think more and more studies come out every day about eating, ultra-processed food and how that's detrimental not only to mood, anxiety, ability to learn, attention span, you name it. Our guts are they control a lot more than we think they do.
Yeah.
And thank you for, moving to increase scratch cooking by 54 percentage points. I think that's great over 3 years. What I don't see is necessarily definitions. And I know you defined scratch cooking in a previous presentation, but in our strategic plan, I would like to see more definiteness that we can measure against. We have, for example, we're talking about introducing 2 to 3 items per, in October, then again in March. What do you mean by items? How are we going to measure that? How are we going to increase to 18% scratch cooking by only introducing 2 or 3 items? I think more definiteness around that so we can measure would be really helpful for us. I want to commend you on, just from the last presentation I saw to right now, reducing our goal for added sugar from 10% of all calories, which is, I think, USDA standard, to 6.5%.
Right.
So thank you for that.
Yes.
When you add up all the sugar, even if it's added or not added, kids are getting a lot of sugar. And I think that's just leading, especially here in the Valley with high rates of diabetes, we want to see how we can tackle that. Another issue I would like to see is, what is our nutritional plan? Because scratch cooking is a strategy, but what are we trying to do in terms of nutrition? How are we measuring nutrition? And I'm not a dietitian. I'm not going to pretend to be one. I'm going to rely on the experts for that, and that's your department in terms of, are we looking at what kind of nutrients are we looking at? Are we looking at protein levels? how we defining ultra-processed versus minimally processed foods, that sort of thing. I guess the overall.
Right.
And that's, part of the mission vision, so I know
Right.
that's there.
Yes.
But it would be really helpful for us to look at, all right, how are we defining this? How are we measuring nutrition value? Because that is the key, right? We're not doing scratch cooking because we want to, it's because it's
There's a
nutritionally
value, right.
better for our students.
Yeah.
One thing, I guess, on nutrition, and then this goes back to a couple other presentations. Comments have been made that, and I know Texas law does not allow us to fry foods, but comments have been made that we may purchase foods that are, I think, I forget the terminology, but, they're bathed in oil or something like that. Does that mean we're essentially serving fried food or not?
Well, no, I mean, all of these foods that we get are approved, like vendors through TDA.
No, I have
So-
no doubt we're in compliance.
Right.
But I'm asking,
How
is
they-
it really fried or not?
They probably do like a par fry on some of the products that we serve, and that is the level that, at the level that is allowed per regulations.
Okay.
So, again, we buy from approved vendors, through Region 1. Can we do better? Of course, and that's where we're going. That's just what we've had available to us,
No
and what
doubt.
we've been doing.
I just wanted to kind of get clarity on that. And
Right.
So that, I would think that would be part of our nutritional.
Sure.
Our internal nutritional goals and guidelines about what we want to feed our kids.
Yes. I don't know if you got the Eat Real handbook as part of the updated strategic plan, but
I'm
a
sorry,
lot
the
of
what?
the Eat Real program handbook, I don't know
Oh,
if you
no.
got that as
I
part of it, but a lot of what they're going to evaluate on our menu is it's gonna help us hit every single one of these points that you're bringing up.
Oh, that's great to hear.
So everything is a point system. So like that is one, right? So including any like what you would say like fried or par fried or whatever gives you a certain amount of points. And so the less points you have, the higher score you get. So we sat down with them a couple of times and we went over their program. And so it's a good program it's kind of like really aligned with what we're trying to do as a department.
That's great, thank you.
Yes.
If you could send that to me, I would love to
Yes.
look at that more intently.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's really,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to hog the mic, but thank you.
It's all right. Thank you, Ms. Esquivel and team. So can you just clarify, where are we with the Eat Real program? We applied to be a part of the cohort?
We've sat with them a couple of times, so they sent us the agreement. It is actually with legal right now,
Great.
so they're reading that. And then the idea, we have to submit back by July 27th, I believe.
Yep.
And the fall, it starts in the fall. I believe it's August or late August or September.
Okay, and it would be a one-year cohort, a semester-long cohort?
I believe, I think it's 3 years of just reviewing nutritional. It'll start slowly because it's going to be a lot of us giving them information, and they're going to dissect our menu down to every ingredient and every item.
Great.
And then they will come back with a scoring system for us,
Yeah.
and we can decide whether we will certify at that or we were going to shoot for a higher certification. And we can always recertify after they will recommend, if you do these steps, you can move on to the next level.
Okay, great, thank you, that's super helpful. I just wanted to make sure we were sort of prepared to
Yes.
continue to work on this for at least the 3-year term of a strategic plan.
Yes.
Sounds like we are. The second thing, and this may be too far into the weeds, but I think there's an important distinction between sugars as a whole and added sugars. And it's sort of called out in the data that you shared, and I'm looking at the Eat Real matrix right now, and we are actually at the highest level of performance right now, based on the Eat Real recommendations, because the added sugars in these options at breakfast are so low. Correct?
Yeah, I think that what they'll do is they'll look at the whole week.
Yep.
So just based on one day, we
Yeah.
would be, but
That's
they
right.
would have to.
If we're below 6.5% over the
Right.
course of the week, we would get the 4 points, which is the most
Correct.
points maximum on the matrix. I think the larger concern is just the total amount of sugar that is being available to kids at breakfast, regardless of whether it's added or not added.
Right.
And it sounds like some of that is by constraint, so we have to have at least 2 fruit options, we have to have a milk option. So those 3 items alone, maybe the juice is less than a milk is a substantive amount overall. And I would just like to see, as we move into defining nutritional standards for children, going above and beyond what may be statutorily required and further reducing total sugars available, not just the added sugar component.
I also want to point out, so just remember that natural sugars, our bodies are going to just digest them a lot different than any other sugars.
That's right. But for juice, there's no
right.
fiber in juice, and so it's going to convert to sugar and be spent by your body much more quickly
Right.
than a whole fruit would, like an apple that has lots of natural fiber in it.
Right.
So there is an important distinction in that
Yes.
regard.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Esquivel. I think I'm just echoing, and we've had discussions too, so thanks to your team for all your work that you're doing on this initiative and this new territory. I just kind of want to echo that we continue to work towards defining some definitions like scratch cooked. I know you did that earlier, but to also put it in the strategic plan. Minimally processed, ultra processed, food waste, added sugars. And I don't mean a general definition, but like as a district, you know, what plan are we going to make to either reduce or add more, or, you know, something along those lines. And then I do have a clarification. So the Chef Ann, I know they also offer a 3-year. That's not the same.
No, because it opens in August, and so we are on a waiting list to hear back from them.
Okay.
I did talk to the Eat Real people as well to say,
Mhm.
okay, if we were to do the Chef Ann, like, would there be a conflict? And they said that no, they've had districts who work on both.
Okay.
They don't really do, they would do recommendations, but it's not more as in-depth as maybe the Chef Ann would be.
Okay. But the one that you mentioned that y'all are applying to now is just a 1-year cohort.
Correct.
So tell me more about why y'all chose that and
It's just that it became available, and so we wanted to apply.
Just hop on something
Just to hop on, just to see.
Okay.
We don't know if we're gonna get
But I'm
accepted.
hearing even you would still apply.
We're on the waiting list for the other one as well.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Oh yeah, okay. And then I'm going to bring up the juice too, and I'm not really talking about the juice, but just kind of looking forward as we enter this new territory of trying different things. I'm curious, you know, the 2-week period that we saw numbers drop, what was the discussion among your team and the plan kind of that y'all were going through when that happened to come to the conclusion that, okay, let's reinstate it? And I guess I asked that because I'm wondering, as we approach newer territory and newer recipes and approaches, and we might remove stuff, add stuff, I think it would be really great to have a plan, and even that the board is aware of. So if we say, if you guys tell us, hey, we're going to remove this and try this new thing, that then it's not such a, you know, if it doesn't work out, that we know that there's a plan in place that you guys are working towards
Right.
to respond to, you know. And again, like, I don't mean to harp on juice because I know that keeps getting brought up, but just like that broader issue of if we make some changes, there's going to be some declines. There's
Right.
going to be some stagnant moves. So, like, what plan does your department have to kind of face some of those potential issues? You know what I mean?
To start off the year, I mean, you know, like one of the things that I mentioned was just the removing of like the cereal, right? So we're only introducing Cheerios and Chex Mix for the whole week. That is the only plan that we would have is in like 6 to 8 weeks, we can replace it with something else, but it would take that long to make a change to that because our orders are already in. We're already going to start receiving in July, and we receive up until, 8 weeks out. So for that, there would be an adjustment that needs to be made. The juice was a little easier because the vendors go directly to the campus and they're able, at one point we said, okay, go ahead and order juice. So they were able to start ordering directly from the vendor and deliver directly to the campus.
Okay.
So the lead time for those are a little bit smaller. In terms of food, there is a bigger lead time. And so, that is where we have to, respond a little quicker, as, we really don't have a lot of time. We have 180 days to make the revenue that we make. So waiting a long time will just, either make it worse or it could just, level out and we see it just kind of steady.
Right.
But it's tough to make those calls.
Yeah. And I'm hopeful that we can get approved with Chef Ann, and now you have the Eat Real, you have different organizations to collaborate with who troubleshoot issues like this all the time that you can lean on and be like, well, it's dipping, but people can help you.
At what point are we going to stay, like, we're going to remain steady, and then
Right.
at what point are we going to make an action plan?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's all my questions.
Anybody else have any other comments or questions? Ms. Esquivel, for my part, I think that there's a real clear consensus that you have the community support as well as the support of the board. And so even as we're working through those changes and those periods of like us all needing to adapt, especially our kids, just know that you have the support. I think if nothing else to take away, that's the highlight, right? And we are here to support you, and so we'll do that. So
Thank you. I appreciate it.
we appreciate everything that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Our team appreciates it as well.
Thank you, Mrs. Esquivel.
Thank you.
And that takes us to item 7C3, discussion and possible action of the. Oh, I'm sorry. 7C2, my notes exceeded that page. 7C2, the report regarding bond 2026. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, we will be presenting an overview of the 2026 bond. Ms. Lorena Garcia, our Deputy Superintendent for Business and Operations, will present a report. This item is for information purposes only. Just a reminder, last week we had a presenter to talk to us about project managers and how to proceed with project managers. And we need direction from the board so that we can start this process of the project managers that administratively we're proposing, so that way we can have a timeline that Ms. Garcia is going to talk about and start putting an RFQ out there, as well as advertising for an in-house project manager and start moving in that direction as soon as we can, because the summer is fast approaching and we're going to be selling the bonds sometime in late August, September, and we'd like for this to be going concurrently so that we can get a project manager on board and hire one in-house as well. But I'll turn it over to Ms. Garcia so that she can present that report. Ms. Garcia?
Yes, sir. I provided a timeline for a possible RFQ, and I left it blank whether it be project manager or architects and engineers, because it could possibly be one or the other, or even both. We could do that at the same time simultaneously from a bidding perspective. But as far as the contractual, we did receive the explanation how we would handle that, where once we have the project manager, we could have a master contract and then have contract addendums as projects are being assigned to the project manager. However, we would like to, if possible, go out for a project manager first. And the reason for that is because we have to, for the RFQ for the architects and engineers, we actually have to break out the bond into project clusters. And we have a draft that Mr. Ruben Trevino shared with you all at a previous board meeting. And this is our interpretation of how we can do that. However, it would benefit us to receive guidance and input from a project manager on how to cluster these projects, if there's a better way to do that, and then put that information into the RFQ. So that's why we're recommending that. And we would like direction as to which way the board would like to go. I know that we talked about changing the evaluation criteria from 100 points to a 1,000-point system, and then also adding points for board interviews as part of that. So I don't know if that's something that we would have to bring back. That would add an extra board meeting to the timeline if we need to bring that back to the board, or if that's something we can send to you all via email if you'd like, once we have that. So just looking for feedback on what your expectations is on that before I get into the board oversight committee topic.
My feeling is that we should take into consideration Mr. Hansen's recommendation, going from 100 point, my understanding is going from 100 point scale to 1,000 just provides more nuance. So I guess on paper, when you're talking about whatever the vendor is, and it's 98 points versus 99, it just seems like 1 point, like they're almost the same. But on a larger scale, you'll be able to see that difference. I think that might be worth doing our current, the RFQs we looked at, what, in March? And maybe going from 100 to 1,000 point scale.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And then I'm not sure, do you have recommendations if we do board interviews, whether that should be a 5% of the points or 10%?
This is such an important contract that I think it would warrant the board to get involved in that, rather than having the administration do the full evaluation and then bring one firm for recommendation.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. I'm a person who sort of goes into the details pretty quickly, and so just to be super clear what our option is here, or one of many, there is a team led by administration that would run a scoring process. You all would then bring to us, maybe it's the top 3, maybe it's the top 5.
Yes.
Then we would interview on, in this particular case, on the 25th, conduct our own scoring, and then it would be the purview of the board to make a recommendation. My question then is, 1, does all of that sound right? I'm seeing nod heads. 2, when the board interviews, are we operating from the same score sheet and scoring on our own, or does the board have another type of score sheet?
Well, what the recommendation was from the presentation is that we add a category in the evaluation criteria that we already currently have for interviews and give it a set of points.
Okay.
So when we would pick up the scoring sheets from the board, let's say it was, I don't know, 400 points or 200 points for interview.
Of the 1,000.
The maximum of the 1,000. Each one of you would provide your own score for the different companies, and then we would take the average of that and then add it to the larger matrix. And then based on the total of the qualifications plus the interview, then that would be a new ranking. And the highest rank from that group would be the one that we would recommend contract negotiations with.
And I guess, did we hear from Mr. Hansen, or I would be interested in knowing what large school districts do as far as how many points the board's interviews would provide in the weighting of the 1,000 points.
I've checked around, I did some research looking for some samples, and they're all different, and I did not find one with 1,000. I mean, although I have seen other bids, other categories of commodities and services in the 1,000 evaluation mark, I have seen that done before. But as far as for project managers, I did not see, the samples that I found were very different. And some of them we would disagree with the process that they were using. Like, for example, they were qualifying multiple vendors, and the law says you have to rank and negotiate with the highest one, so it's only a singular firm. So, it's,
It's a district decision
yeah.
that
Mhm.
we
The
could say-
interpretation of the legal counsel, what we can do within the parameters. And I'm sure if you ask different attorneys, you may even get different interpretations.
I mean, I understand the 100 versus the 1,000, but at the end of the day, like you said, you add a zero, or we could take
Take a
away a
zero,
zero. I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
it's
it's the
gonna
same.
be, if it's 990 versus 980, it's still a or
It's
900.
It's in the
9,000.
range when you're giving the points,
Yeah.
you know, you have 100-point leeway versus just like, you would have to go into decimals like we did. Like, for example, the SHARS was an example that it was so close.
Mhm.
It was by like,
You're
you
right.
know, 0.2
Yeah.
or something like that. You would avoid situations like that.
We can go out,
That's a good point.
giving us feedback to go out for the RFQ. While we do that, we can then come back with a recommendation, like how many points can the board give based on the interviews? Maybe
Mhm.
we do 700 and we leave 300 up to the board. I mean, I'm just thinking aloud, or it could be we do 800 as administratively and leave 200
Mhm.
collectively for the board to assign. And then we can bring you all a recommendation on the matrix.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, we saw it tonight in the SHARS vendors that it was to the decimal, so maybe
Mhm.
the added zero will
Yeah.
alleviate some of that
Correct.
close tightness
Yeah.
in the rankings.
What we'd like to do is look at this timeline, and we can, and we're okay to proceed, so that, and then we can work on the matrix and bring that point system on how many can the board wants to give, or based on the interviews. But I think this is of the,
We would have to change that timeline because the advertisement is shortly after we come back from break. So that would not give us any time to bring it to the board unless there was a July meeting. But the earliest we could come back is, I believe it's August the 8th is our next board meeting.
Oh,
But you want to go out for RFQ before then?
Mhm.
Yes.
No, I mean,
I mean,
that's-
sorry,
that's
not
the
you personally.
earliest
Is
that-
that the recommended?
that would be the earliest that we could if you all wanted us to go out. But like I said, if we need to bring it back, then we would need to make room for another board meeting, which is fine for us, you know.
to bring,
that's-
to bring the matrix?
To
The
bring the
matrix.
matrix.
Yeah.
So that it could be included in the RFQ, correct?
Right, and then we advertise after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm fine with that, as long as we're doing it right, and
Yes.
from the
Yeah.
beginning to the end of this bond project, it's.
Go slow to go fast.
Okay.
everybody is on the same page.
So then we can look at a meeting sometime in late July, just for the bring the matrix and then allow us to go out for an RFQ? Is that,
I think so.
Okay.
I did have a question, Ms. Garcia. Am I understanding correctly that then the points awarded by the board, there is no rubric, or we don't plan for there to be a rubric, and it's going to be subjective?
It would be subjective, the interview. Now,
But even in the interview process, we're not going to have a rubric for how we subjectively assign points? Or,
we could, because there's.
I think we need some.
We need some, okay, because we would have a set of questions that you would ask, and you would ask the same questions of all of the candidates. So we could use that as a rubric to break down the points.
That kind of gives me pause, because that still leaves it to each of us to like an answer or not like an answer versus have an objective rubric for how we're scoring the particular answer. Does that make sense? And I mean,
we
you
can,
tell me what you think, it's all of us, but I just,
Yeah, we need a rubric.
Yeah.
Can we-
Otherwise, it's just.
can we
not
talk to
just
Mr. Hanson?
assigning.
Maybe he
Yeah,
can give
to
us,
establish a rubric.
maybe we can ask Mr. Hanson to help us with that?
Yes.
and
Did
bring
we
us-
have a rubric when we interviewed legal? I feel like I remember adding points up.
For
Yes.
For
It was before you.
insurance?
No.
I think
No.
we did.
We
For
did
the-
add up, right? I remember there was some kind of,
For
there was
the
questions, right?
third-party administrators, we had a rubric for the ranking that the administration did, and that had questions, and it had a rubric depending on what the answers were. It would give you a range of points to give them. Okay, well, I have your guidance.
One other question here.
Yes.
What procurement method are you recommending for this RFQ, and why?
Well, the procurement method would be a request for qualifications, which is really the only one that we can do, that the law allows for. It's considered a professional service.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
It's just an RFQ for now.
Okay.
Yes.
And just to clarify, because there's rumors out in the community, no bond project has been assigned or
No.
awarded
No,
or.
no. We're-
Right,
No.
I know. I'm
We're-
just
we're
wanting to
not there
clarify
yet.
that. But I absolutely know that.
We're months away from that.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just,
And then finally, on the presentation, I did include multiple versions of the Bond Oversight Committee Charter. I did receive some changes, recommended changes from the board, and I've incorporated those. Also, the ones that I received that night, I incorporated that as well. So in red, you see the strike-throughs, but I also, in your SharePoint, and also on the board book for the public to see, I included a clean copy so that it could be easier to read with all those strike-throughs. But this is the recommended Bond Oversight Committee Charter, and we have received a set of names from one board member, and we do not have any names from the other board members. So we would ask that you please send your names to Norma. That way we can come back and bring you the full list of who is being recommended by the board members.
I have a question. For names that do get submitted, can the board be notified of, so we don't, right? My
Oh,
fear is
okay.
that we all coincidentally nominate
Okay.
construction people or lawyers, and I just want to make sure there's some diversity in terms of backgrounds.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
we can give you an update as we're receiving them.
okay, cool.
Mhm. Give it
Ms.
up.
Garcia, I apologize for my failure to submit this earlier, but in the ineligibility section, I noticed that we didn't include, we included the employees and family members of employees, but in the same vein, I thought that it might be appropriate to have no employees of bond-related vendors,
No.
No employees.
like somebody that's employed by somebody,
Oh, like
one
an
of our
HVAC
bond,
company.
yeah.
Would they be considered the vendor?
I
Well,
don't know, it depends how we define it, I don't think I saw that it
and
would.
the definition for the vendor is on there. It's actually on this page. It's consistent with the conflict of interest statute, government code 171.002. And that's the definition that I utilized. I believe Mr. Rivera was the one that suggested that.
It's where
So-
you receive 10% of, if you get 10% of your gross annual, that's a conflict.
So an employee would
Okay.
be disqualified from.
Okay.
So for example, if somebody works for a vendor, more than likely 10% of their annual income is coming from that vendor.
okay.
By definition, they are a vendor.
Unless
Even if
they're a
they're
sub
unemployed.
for a vendor.
Yeah.
But-
That's true too. That's a good point.
So if you can give us the names sometime in the month of now, June or July?
Yes, we
And-
can send them
Just send 'em as you get
tomorrow.
'em, like a-
We can send
yeah.
the two that we have tomorrow.
And
Perfect.
we'll send you the first two, yeah. The sooner we have them, the better, so we can organize meetings with them as well and get them involved in the process, because the process is already starting, and we'd like to get this bond oversight committee, get involved right away now,
Mhm.
as we promised.
Okay, so you're good with these changes then?
I do have one clarification. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, just to clarify on that, on the 10%, if it's a full-time employee, then that would cover it, but if it's a subcontractor for a vendor, then it potentially may not. So,
Depending on the size of their
Mhm.
contract?
right.
Yeah,
So
right.
I think maybe we should spell it out a little bit.
Okay, I can add that as another line item, as an employee of a bond-related vendor.
An
Or a
employee or
subcontractor.
subcontractor?
Or a
Or sub-
subcontractor. of-
Bond-related,
Employee or employee of a subcontractor?
or subcontract. Okay. Duly noted.
Before we move forward, we skipped over the chunking of the projects. I do just want to confirm my takeaway on this, starting on slide 4, I believe it is. So for the purposes of putting this in layman's terms, what I'm reading on this slide, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that project number 1 will include as a bundle the CTE building at Memorial High and the multipurpose building at Memorial High, and accordingly for the other 2 comprehensive high schools.
Yes.
And that will go out ultimately to bid as a architectural contract.
Yes, we would recommend, in this recommendation, it would be one architectural firm for that group of projects.
Okay, and then on the next slide, project bucket number 2 has all of the projects included in the RFQ or the call for bids on this one. It will also be an architectural project to start. And it could be the case that the winner of project number 1 and project number 2 is the same firm.
It's possible.
Yeah, okay.
The only thing is, I would like to point out that the green one, the HVAC upgrades, we already have design documents for that project.
Yep.
So we could possibly, well, we should pull it out because we would save money on the design cost and then just give a contract to the firm that designed that project for the rest of the work.
And those HVAC projects really belong to the in-house project manager. But this is an idea that Mr. Ruben Trevino put together. That's why we like to have a project manager that could assist us if this is a good layout, a good plan for architects and engineers, or if they have other ideas that we could consider. But for now, this is a starting point also for us and the board and everyone to see how the jobs could be divided by different architects and engineers.
Thank you for confirming.
Yes, sir. Okay, no further questions. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Item 7C3, discussion.
Do we have, I apologize, given the changes we recommend, do we have to approve the bond oversight committee charter?
It's not an action item.
It's not an
a
action.
report regarding.
Okay.
But legal counsel, I mean, we would need to bring it back, and we could, if you'd like. I could, would you like for me to bring it back as an action item?
Well, maybe we
Not
do
a-
it when we approve the new matrix in late July.
And the
In
names,
July.
and the names as well?
And
We'll
the
bring it with a
names.
matrix along with the names and the.
And those names will be vetted before that meeting,
Hopefully, we'll have them before that.
Which names?
committee members.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we should, that's sufficient time.
Just give it to chief.
And just to clarify, you said our deadline is what date to give you the names?
As soon as possible.
As soon as, either June or
Yesterday.
July.
Before you leave
June or-
Okay.
June or July, but
You can
preferably
even send
June.
them
Well, I mean,
during
if
the
we-
break.
But if we
Okay.
have to wait to vote on this at the end of July,
I mean, we do.
Is it, yeah.
or do we need to actually vote on
That-
creation of the oversight committee?
You can send, we don't need to, but if it's a preference of the board, we can. There's no reason why we couldn't.
I would prefer, if we don't need to legally vote on it to create it, and everyone's agreed with the language, with the changes that President Regalado suggested, I would prefer we just go ahead and create it, because I know the community is waiting for it. But if we need
Do
to
we-
actually have a formal vote, then we
Mr.
have to
Ball?
wait.
Do we need a formal vote?
For me personally, I'd rather see a formal vote because you're creating what could be a long-term standing committee. I just think it has legitimacy to it. And just for the sake of adding that legitimacy and having the board action behind it, I would rather see it that way, personally. Would it be terminal to the committee if there wasn't a board vote? No, it wouldn't be. But for me, I'd rather see the board action myself.
So we could
Because it's
potentially
been on
go
the
forward with the oversight committee and then formalize it in a future vote?
Of course,
What do y'all think about that?
formalize the charter and everything that goes with it. You can definitely start with putting it together.
But what's the
outlines.
objective?
Objective, just to get it up and running, because, I don't know about you, but I've been asked multiple times, when's the oversight committee? When y'all taking action? Why hasn't it been started yet? So I know the community is out there wanting it. And so the further delays, the more they think we're trying not to create it. That's my only thinking. I don't think 1 month really makes that big a difference in things. It's just more to show that it is moving forward.
Oh, I mean, I think the delay is only because the district is closed for a month. So I think I would rather it be approved the same night as our matrix, and then, and then by then we have a vetted list of community members.
That's correct.
Then we'll bring in the late July meeting altogether.
Okay.
This, okay?
Any other questions or comments? Okay, item 7C3, discussion and possible action of the McAllen Independent School District May and June budget amendment for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, we recommend approval of the May and June 2026 budget amendment for the 2025-26 fiscal year. Ms. Lorena Garcia, Deputy Superintendent for Business and Operations, will present more details, and we recommend an action on this item.
This is a routine year-end amendment, and most of the added revenue you see on there is TRS on behalf, which is recorded both as a revenue and an expenditure. In addition to that, we did renew the summary of finance using the fifth 6 weeks information, and that's where you see the larger part of the revenue coming from the state. We also, on the expenditure side, for the health insurance, remember that we were anticipating a $1.2 million shortfall for the end of 25-26. So we are making an amendment for that. Also, the $600,000 that was mentioned for the SHARs, we are also amending for that. Athletics, we're amending their budget by $325,000. And then on the debt service side, that's a separate amendment. It does reflect $950,000 of existing debt allotment, which was under the hold harmless, and that information we get from the summary of finances from TEA. The other thing is the leases, and the SBITAs, which is the, I'm sorry, I escapes my mind, but I have it on here. Information technology agreements, subscription-based information technology agreements. A GASB pronouncement requires that we record it both as an asset and as a liability, so you see that on the amendment. Any questions on any of the transactions?
This is an action item?
I do just have one question. I want to make sure I'm understanding here. Sorry. So my read of this, slide 1 of the amendment, is the fund balanced, which began the year at $152 million, and it's slated to end the year at $118 million. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
With the major driver of that being the maintenance tax note payment that we paid this year?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
This is for action.
I move to approve the McAllen Independent School District May and June budget amendment for the general fund, debt service, and capital projects fund for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025, and ending June 30th, 2026.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Haddad and a second by trustee Peña. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries 7-0. Item 7C4, discussion and possible action on the compensation plan for school year 2026-2027. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, as per Board Policy DEA Local, the superintendent shall recommend an annual compensation plan for all district employees. The compensation plan may include wage and salary structures, stipends, benefits, and incentives. Administration is recommend a general pay increase for all employees for the 26-27 school year. Dr. Albert Canales, our Chief Human Resources Officer, will have more information, and administration is recommending action on this item. And I believe we've gone through this for 6 budget workshops, so.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Anything you want to add, Dr. Canales?
No, just that, we do look at a $1,000 raise for teachers, and then you look at the 1% for administrators and a 3% for all auxiliary staff.
The 1.5% is how much?
It comes out to $1,000. So the teachers now are getting the 1,000, plus they're getting their increase of the House bill allotment money as well.
Okay.
So if you look on that screen right there, it'll kind of tell you there. So if you're a 1 to 2 year teacher, it's 1,000. So we're taking the minimum from 55,300 to 55,000 for new teachers starting to 56,000. Sorry, And then if you look at it up there, you have the 1,000 for 1 to 2 year teachers. 3 years, it is the 1940, right? 1,000 is funded local, and the 940 is through the House bill. And then if you look at the 4 years, same, that's $1,000. And then when you get to the 5 year, it's 3,500, which is 2,500 to cover the other 2,500 that was given before, and that'll take them another 1,000 as well. So it'll be 3,500.
Excuse me. If House Bill 2 does not carry over into the next state biennium, does this compensation plan obligate us to continue that increase, or where does that put us in the next school year?
As far as I know, it doesn't. So we're hoping that when they meet this coming year, that they're looking at increases. But as far as I know, we don't keep on increasing. It's just for these 2 years.
Thank you, Dr. Canales, for the work here. I would just like to confirm that the teacher equity pay adjustments that were presented to us on May 27th, the list of positions are indeed accounted for in this compensation plan.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for confirming that.
Madam President, I have a lot. So I asked for everybody's grace with this. I've been putting together some numbers for a while based on all of our meetings and compiling our budgets from the last 3 years that we've been elected. I want to thank the staff and the administration for the work in preparing this budget. If you'll allow me the grace to read, my perimenopause brain is not the best in the summer, but I keep taking these notes to help me remind myself. But I know these decisions that we have tonight are not easy. I appreciate the effort to balance the needs of our district while remaining fiscally responsible. However, as I've previously mentioned, I'd like to offer an amendment to the proposed compensation plan. Rather than the recommended 1.5 increase for teachers at a cost of approximately $4.2 million, I move that we approve a 2% salary increase for teachers, the same 3% salary increase for support staff, our bus drivers, janitors, maintenance, crossing guards, and a 1% salary increase for administrators, at a total cost of $5.8 million. The difference between the recommended proposed budget tonight and my proposal is $1.6 million. Our McAllen ISD employees are the backbone of this district. Every achievement we celebrate, every student success story, every academic gain, every championship, every scholarship, and every graduation that we all celebrated this month begins with the dedicated work of the people serving our students every day. Since I was elected in 2023, this board has demonstrated that when our priorities require it, we find the solutions. For the 23-24 school year, newly elected, we approved a budget of approximately $266 million, yet actual expenditures that year totaled approximately $273. We were led to believe by prior administration that we were only in a $5 million deficit, but when Dr. Gutierrez and Ms. Garcia came on board, we saw that that true number was closer to $24.5 million deficit. And I attribute all of the financial success that we have had over the last 3 years to the work of our finance department and what they have achieved under both Dr. Gutierrez and Ms. Garcia's leadership. In 24-25, we approved a budget of approximately $253 million, yet our actual expenditures totaled approximately $279 with a deficiency of $4.5 million. 25-26, we approved a budget of $279 million, while actual expenditures reached approximately $320 million that we just saw, with a $2.2 million deficiency. Even accounting for the one-time defeasance expense of $15 million, actual spending still significantly exceeded our adopted budget, a lot of which was due to cuts from the Fed and the state, which we can assume will continue as we've seen almost a $1 million cut in the child nutrition program. The point is that not that we should spend irresponsibly. The point is that this district and this board has repeatedly demonstrated an ability to manage through budget amendments and address financial realities when they arise. If we have found ways to cover expenditures beyond our adopted budget in recent years, then I have faith that we can find a way to invest an additional $1.6 million in the people who directly impact our students' success every day. McAllen ISD remains in a stronger position than many districts across our state. We are not discussing campus closures. We are not implementing reductions in force. Through attrition, we've already reduced approximately 66 positions, creating opportunities for savings moving forward. I'd also like to point out the overwhelming support our community recently demonstrated through the approval of the $335 million bond. While bond funds cannot be used for salaries, this will allow our district to address many of our facility and capital improvement needs through the bond process, rather than relying solely on our maintenance and operational funds. As these projects move forward, we should continue looking for those savings and opportunities to redirect the operational savings to our most valuable asset, our people. We, McAllen ISD, are the largest employee in the city of McAllen by almost more than 1,000 people. Our community sent a clear message when they approved this bond. They believe in McAllen ISD, they believe in investing in our future, and now we have an opportunity to invest in the people who make that future possible every single day. This amendment also creates accountability for the administration and for us, this board. By setting a higher compensation target, we challenge ourselves to continue to identify efficiencies and savings throughout the year while protecting our classrooms. As trustees, we often speak about recruiting and retaining the best employees, but the reality is compensation matters, appreciation matters, and demonstrating through action that we value our employees matters. When neighboring districts are facing difficult cuts, campus closures, and staffing reductions, which we've all read about in the headlines, McAllen ISD has the opportunity to distinguish ourselves as a district that prioritizes our employees. Tonight, we have an opportunity to make that statement about our priorities. I believe our teachers deserve 2%, much more if it was up to us. I believe that our support staff deserve 3%. And I believe our administrators can lead by example with 1%. And I believe that McAllen ISD is financially capable of making this investment. We've all heard the saying that a house does not make a home, but the people that are in it. Same goes here. Our buildings don't educate our children. Our people do. And our community just approved $335 million to invest in our facilities. Tonight I ask that we make a stronger investment in the teachers and the staff who bring those facilities to life. For those reasons, I respectfully move to approve this amended compensation for the 2% for teachers, 3% for staff, and 1% for administrators.
I will second that.
I have a motion by trustee De La Garza Lopez and a second by trustee Peña.
I would like
Any discussion?
a discussion, yeah. Trustee De La Garza, I couldn't agree more with everything you said. And I believe our teachers deserve a 35% raise.
Absolutely.
I do have concerns because a $1.6 million is not a one-year hit. It's a pay raise. It's a structural deficit, and we're already at 2.9 million structural deficit. Is that fair to? Yeah. So we'd be going $5 million structural deficit that we're going to have to make up next year. And if our enrollment continues declining, that might become a $6.7 million deficit next year. That's one major concern. That is my major concern about the pay raise.
If enrollment declines, we know that that means more loss of positions through attrition. So it doesn't necessarily remain a same cost, a flat cost, if we're losing students.
And Ms. Garcia, this year, the maintenance tax notes, we're essentially using the interest earned to make those payments this year.
Yes.
Will that be available next year?
No, we will have to pay the approximately $2 million out of 199 general fund.
So that's another $2 million.
Yes.
And then we also have about $2 million that we're setting aside, reserving for the health plan.
Yes.
Because that's in a deficit.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at, $5, 6, 7, 8, 9 $9 million potential structural deficit without any changes going into next year.
I would like to recommend something before you all take a vote. It's my obligation to inform you that we have already done all the required postings based on the budget that was built and presented. We've had our public hearing and, all of the legal requirements that we've met. If you all would like to raise the teacher's salary by an additional 0.5%, which is approximately another $500. We could come back in August and amend this budget to, that way it's cleaner on a legal, financial way. Otherwise, I would like a little bit of time, if you are gonna amend this budget today, I would like a little bit of time to speak to Kevin O'Hanlon's staff, just to make sure, because since we've already gone, like, it's just the timing of, this is the last presentation on the budget, and we've already set everything, so, but an amendment would accomplish the same thing as well, and that's 100% acceptable. We've done that in the past.
I think it may be through a motion to amend it, and
I can amend my motion to say that the increase would be done at a later date in August as an amendment.
right, because the teachers will not see this raise until their September check. So it would be, give us some time. But to make it more cleaner, yeah, to be able to work with those, this coming weeks. If that's the way the board wants to go.
John?
I mean, just to take into consideration, I mean, we've seen, and I mean, I see it, and just grocery costs. I mean, there's been what we have right now, 4% as of April inflation rate. Half a percent of that was just since May, because we've seen the increase in gasoline and energy costs. You know, and that 0.5%, you know, makes a difference for families. And it's not like it's a one-time retention payment that we do on Christmas, and maybe that's something that we reconsider and we don't do that. But I think that our teachers and our staff need relief now, and they need it consistently in their paychecks, not just $500 at Christmas. So that's something to think about.
I think legal had, did you have something to
Mr.
say?
Ball?
I was going to piggyback off what Ms. Garcia said, really two things. One is more of a Robert's Rules of Order sort of thing. If you would rescind the motion, if you were inclined to do that, instead of amending it, rescind it and restate it, that it would be something that we would do down the road after we've had an opportunity. I would like to talk to Mr. O'Hanlon. I'd like to double check to make sure that the posting requirements are met, because if we've had a public hearing based upon a budget that was posted, the public had a chance to come and talk to us about. If we're going to amend that, I would really like to make sure we don't have to repost and do something to give them notice so that they can come in and speak in favor of it or against it one way or the other. So that's really where I come out on it. I'd like an opportunity to do that, to make sure that we're clearing that procedure.
John, the board has to vote on the budget tonight because we have a deadline June 30th with the understanding of a possible amendment. Is that?
Sure. I wouldn't be comfortable with the amendment right now, given that we've already gone through the publishing of everything that we've done. We've put everything up in terms of having the meeting. If they would like to bring this up, as you said, as a budget amendment down the road and say we want to amend it so that we can change it, I think that that's something that we could do later the way that you were talking about it. I'm concerned about.
Is it possible or allowable to, if I may ask, to discuss this in closed session? Is it possible that, so that we can double check what we can do as far as our next steps?
We could take a few minutes to talk in executive to Mr. O'Hanlon and kind of get some guidance from him, and then we can certainly come back out and see. So long as we have O'Hanlon's blessing that the posting and everything is good to go, God bless everybody, do whatever you want to do in terms of voting. That's the only thing that I want to tap the brakes on for a second.
So we can.
So we have a motion right now on the floor in a second.
So
do we?
You can move to
rescind the
table
motion
it,
and table it?
Sure, just move to rescind it, and then we can.
I rescind my motion and
I rescind my
trustee
second.
Peña's second,
Okay.
and table the item till after closed session.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Well, then I guess we can't approve the budget either.
Okay. Item 7C5, discussion and possible action.
Would this also go with
Yeah.
the table? That would go together?
Do we need to vote on the move to table?
No, because, no, she
we'll
rescinded
take
her
it up.
motion. She
Okay.
rescinded it, so we're fine.
Okay.
To table.
So then to table, it, do we need to vote though?
Yeah, to table it, you would, but if she rescinded her motion,
I did.
then
Okay.
I moved to table.
I second her motion to table item
Then let's vote
seven
on that.
C4.
Should have been going.
Five.
Five.
7C4.
Four.
Four and five.
Four.
And five.
Well, 5 is directly related to.
4 and 5
Okay,
would,
so just to clarify, trustee De La Garza Lopez, you're also moving to table 7C5.
7C4 and 7C5.
Okay.
yes.
And then a second, trustee Carrion?
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion to table carries 7-0. So that takes us to item 7C6. Discussion and possible action on approval of an order authorizing the issuance by the McAllen Independent School District of its unlimited tax school building bonds, Series 2026, levying a continuing direct annual ad valorem tax for the payment of the bonds, delegating the authority to the board president and the superintendent to execute certain documents relating to the sale of the bonds, and providing an effective date. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, voters in McAllen ISD approved the district's $335 million bond program in May. Administration recommends that the Board of Trustees adopt an order authorizing the issuance of McAllen Independent School Districts of its unlimited tax school building bonds, Series 2026, pursuant to a delegated sale. Mr. Matt Lee, our bond counsel with Norton Rose Fulbright, is available for questions, and I believe Mr. Matt Lee is on screen. We're recommending action on this item, but Mr. Lee, is there, would you like to add to this item for the board, before the board takes a vote on it?
Sure, happy to. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, I hope it's not too loud. Happy to answer any questions on this. The purpose of the parameters order is what we call it, is that for larger issuers, larger districts that have, in this case, we're proposing to issue $100 million. So under Chapter 1371 of the Government Code, it authorizes the district to go into the market when the time is right. And so it allows the board to authorize the issuance of the bonds that the voters approved within certain parameters. So the board will meet tonight. They consider this order that's before them and is authorizing the issuance of the bonds that will be sold at a later date. I think we're projecting sometime in August. And so the parameters that the board will set are found on page 3. It's within section 1 of the document. And it basically says, our pricing officers, who's the superintendent and the board president, at a later date, you are authorized to complete the sale of these bonds, but you cannot exceed $100 million, which is the first installment or tranche of the voted authorization. We have a max maturity in there, and we have an interest rate that we cannot exceed. So these are, each of those parameters are something that your financial advisors and your finance staff and the superintendent will be monitoring closely as property values come in at the end of July, and as we monitor market conditions going into the point where we're going to sell bonds. And they'll use that to size the bonds whenever we do go out to the market in August. The order does a lot of different things. There's a whole packet of documents that are behind it, but the order itself, as you read through all 48 or so sections that are in it, it authorizes, various agreements, et cetera. You probably noticed that there's some blanks in there. That's all perfectly acceptable. We won't know the information to fill in those blanks until we price the bonds at a later date. And so at that point in time, the superintendent and the board president are authorized to complete this document called the approval certificate, which is basically all the blanks that are in the order. It's all the finance terms that we'll know on the sale date. So it's like a 3-page document. It puts in the parties that are involved with the transaction. It puts in the par amounts, the debt service schedule, the dates, things like that. And it basically confirms in it we're issuing the bonds for 95 million, which is less than the 100 million that the board authorized. We are, the max maturity on this bond is within the parameters set by the board and so on. So that document will allow us to complete the pricing of the bonds, and that approval certificate will allow us to complete the order at the time we sell the bonds, and every other document that's ancillary to the order. And then our firm as bond counsel, we take that document, the document package to the Attorney General, just as we've done with all the other bonds that the district has issued. I guess I'll stop there. I think I've kind of rambled just a little bit. So happy to answer any questions on the order itself, the process, and I know your financial advisors are in the audience as well, to the extent you have any questions on the amounts or the timing on the bond sale.
Mr. Lee, I just have one question. You said working with our financial advisors will determine the size of the bond issuance. However, the order does limit it to 100 million. Is that correct?
That is correct. And so I don't want to get too technical or steal your financial advisor's thunder on it. If the bonds were sold today, it wouldn't be 100 million par amount. It would probably be something closer to 95, but there would be premium generated on the sale. And so what that does is it gets you $100 million for your construction fund. And so the par amount of 95 plus the premium that we're going to allocate to the construction fund, you'll have $100 million in your bank account in the construction fund, and that'll be counted against your voted authorization. So in no event will either of those, either the par amount or the construction fund deposit, exceed the $100 million that's in that first parameter on page 3 of the order.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? This item is for action.
I move to adopt an order authorizing the issuance of McAllen Independent School District of its unlimited tax school building bond series 2026 pursuant to a delegated sale.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Haddad and a second by trustee Rivera. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Item 7C7, discussion and possible action on competitive sealed proposal number 2027-1004, Dorothea Brown Middle School Community Track Parking Lot Project. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration solicited competitive sealed proposals for the community track parking lot project at Dorothea Brown Middle School. Mr. Ruben Trevino, our Executive Director for Facilities and Maintenance and Operations, is available to answer questions. Administration is recommending action on this item.
Discussion? Anybody?
Anybody have any?
I think we all saw the proposal, right? So I move to approve the ranking for selection of general contractor for competitive sealed build proposal number 2027-1004, Dorothea Brown Middle School Community Track Parking Lot Project.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee Carrion. All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries 6-0.
Madam President, I move to approve that administration begin with negotiations with the highest ranked contractor. If the district is unable to negotiate a satisfactory contract with a selected contractor, the district shall formally end in writing end negotiations with that contractor and proceed to the next contractor in the order of the selection ranking until a contract is reached or all proposals are rejected.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee Peña. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0.
Madam President, I move to authorize the superintendent to execute a contract in accordance with the procedure set out in Texas Government Code Section 2269.254 once contractor negotiations have been successfully achieved.
I'll second. I retract my second.
Second by trustee Peña and a motion by trustee Rivera. All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Item 7C8, discussion and possible action on request for qualifications number 2026-1039, bond underwriting services. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, administration solicited qualifications for bond underwriting services. Mr. Joel Garcia, our Chief Financial Officer, is available to answer any questions. Administration is recommending action on this item.
Before we vote, I would ask administration, because I had some questions based on the fact that 4 are tied for 1, the various, can you, just for the public's knowledge, provide kind of an overview of how this pool would work if we approve it as presented?
Mr. Magallanes, or
Dr. Magallanes.
from
from
Estrada
Estrada
Hinojosa.
Good evening, Madam President, trustees, Dr. Gutierrez, members of the audience. Angel Magallanes with TRB Capital Markets, Estrada Hinojosa. Yes, the district worked on underwriting pool, and these underwriters ultimately are the ones that will go out to the market and actually sell your bonds to investors. So even though you have a tie of I think 4 underwriters on there, we are projecting to use 4 underwriters for this first tranche of $100 million. The reason for that is we work in syndicates or groups, and what that allows you to do is pretty much have a wider net of investors potentially bidding on your bonds. So you have different companies with different networks, different investors. That's going to bring more investors in and hopefully bring down the interest rate that we ultimately receive when we price your bonds.
Thank you. And it was y'all's recommendation to include the 75 points and above, is that correct?
Correct, and it's a pool, ultimately what has occurred in the last 5 years, and really beyond that, there has been some restrictions by the Attorney General here in Texas to ban certain companies to do work in Texas. So what we've seen is some companies have actually, that have done underwriting in the past, have been banned from doing underwriting here in Texas, or they just completely leave the industry of underwriting. So having this pool of about 15 gives us flexibility, because we are going to sell this within 4 tranches within the next 4 to 5 years for the school district. So that provides us that flexibility in case there is any restrictions that any of these participate.
So this pool would be in effect for the life of the bond, or how does that work?
Correct, for the life of the bond, yes.
And that's advisable?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody else have any other questions?
No, I think he answered mine.
I move to approve request for qualifications number 2026-1039 bond underwriting services and approve the firms listed on the attached as qualified vendors for the duration of the 2026 bond program, which is currently anticipated to be through 2031.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Haddad and a second by trustee Rivera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Magallanes.
Thank you.
Okay, item 7D, Board of Trustees items. 7D1, discussion and possible action to approve Board of Education meeting minutes for the special board meeting June 2nd, 2026. Dr. Gutierrez.
We need
I'm
a
sorry.
motion to approve this for the
Yes.
minutes.
I have
I
a
move
motion.
to approve, or
And I'll
I second.
Okay, I have a motion by trustee Peña and a second by trustee Carrion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, we are now at item 8, recess to closed session. The Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to sections 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, 551.076, and 551.089 of the Texas Government Code to discuss the following. A, discussion of human resources recommendations for the school year 2025-2026. B, discussion of human resources recommendations for the school year 2026-2027. C, discussion of human resources employee resignations and retirees for school year 2025-2026. D, discussion of the recommendation for the Director of Employee Benefits and Safety Risk Management Department for 2026-2027 school year. E, discussion of the recommendation for the principal of Dr. Pablo Perez Elementary for the 2026-2027 school year. F, discussion regarding school safety and security. FA 2023-2026 DAR, District Safety and Security Audit Report. G, pending and/or potential litigation, and H, possible real estate acquisition. We are now in closed.
Wait, do you have to list that we're going to reach out to council regarding the budget
sorry.
amendment?
Thank you, trustee Haddad. And based on the previous motions, we will also be discussing in closed session item
7C4, 7C5.
item 7C4 and 7C5. And at 7:39 PM, we are recessed to closed. It is 9:06 PM, and we are reconvened in open session. We'll be returning to item 7C4, discussion and possible action on compensation plan for the school year 2026-2027. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, as per board policy, DEA local, the superintendent shall recommend an annual compensation plan for all district employees. The compensation plan may include wage and salary structures, stipends, benefits, and incentives. Administration is recommending a general pay increase for all employees for the 26-27 school year. Administration is recommending action on this item.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve a 2% salary increase for teachers, a 3% salary increase for support staff, and a 1% salary increase for administrators at a total cost of approximately $5.8 million. The difference between the administration's recommendation and this proposal is approximately $1.6 million.
I have a motion by trustee De La Garza Lopez. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion by De La Garza Lopez and a second by trustee Peña. Any
Madam
discussion?
President, yeah, I'd like to just make a statement here. I really appreciate the analysis that you've done. I think we are, as I said at the end of the last budget workshop, in a relatively strong position as a district compared to others across the state. It is also the case that we have, as initially proposed, a pay increase for all staff that I am currently comfortable dipping into fund balance to access and to make real for this time. I have reservations about increasing the fund balance access for an additional increase without clarity for how we will make that sustainable in the long term. And so while now I am not in favor of your amended motion, I can get to that place if I could see over the course of the next month, the next 6 weeks, the next 8 weeks, some plan that would show how through a reduction through attrition, we may be able to make up the difference of that additional cost in a way that does not encumber the district for the long term, then I could probably get to a place where I could support that. I love the idea. I love the thinking that you put into this. I love the way that you have sparked this conversation among us as a way of showing to our staff and our team our appreciation. I'm just trying to balance that with the fiduciary responsibility of tight budgets in public school districts and an anticipation that there will likely not be any cavalry coming out of Austin this year in terms of significant increases to public funding for the future.
Anyone else have discussion?
I would, yes. As always, Trustee Carrion, you're so eloquent and you said it perfectly, my thoughts. So I would like to echo what you just said. And I would also like to get clarity from administration. If we did do the 2% sometime in the future, would that 2% pay increase automatically increase the adjustments that we were considering for counselors and librarians? Does that include instructional? I'm going off my memory because I didn't have my iPad.
We probably have to increase the whole list that was on there.
It would just automatically increase as well?
Yes.
Okay. But, sorry, I had a question, but I echo Trustee Carrion's points.
Anybody else? I also appreciate the spirit and the thought behind the motion, and I think that we all want to be able to do more. To Trustee Carrion's points as well, I would like to see a concrete plan with measurables so that we can know that when we make these decisions, we're doing so responsibly. But I'm more than happy to reconsider my thoughts in a couple of weeks when we have that plan. And I think that an amendment would serve that purpose, right?
I think that we also need to discuss, or at least make known that, trying to get there and give more, which everybody across the board, not just our school board, but every board in the state of Texas right now is trying to do, might mean that we have to tighten our belts come Christmas time, come the future, maybe no raises next year. So you know. I think this entire board is in agreement that everybody works hard. We want to be able to give everybody raises, and however or wherever we end up tonight, we'll do our best, but we have to keep in mind that if nothing's coming back to us from the state, we will have to continue to, at some point, it might be a no. You know, we won't be able to do an increase this year or for the next year or 2 or 3 years. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we're trying our best. And thank you to the staff. I know running numbers off the cuff like that sometimes, you know, it's hard, but y'all do so much good work, and we appreciate that work as well.
I just have one question. You had mentioned that, you may have answered this already, but if we were to do the 2%, we would go from 92 to 90, essentially, with our fund balance, is that correct?
If we were to do, the 1.5% was the 92.
92, right?
Yes.
Okay,
So it would be lower than that.
sure. Thank you. Echoing what everybody here says, I do support the 2% as it stands right now. I think that administration has done an incredible job. Superintendent has done a great job with where we're at, with what we've done so far. I know that we're going to get to a point where we're, right now it may seem tough because you're trimming, but hey, you've done it before, and we trust you. This is a great board. We're going to get there as well. So I just want to thank everybody and our staff, and if I don't see you guys, I hope you guys have an amazing summer. So, thank you. I think it's time to vote.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by trustee De La Garza Lopez and a second by trustee Peña. All in favor, say aye.
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 I believe that's 3 ayes. All opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
To 4, motion fails or does not pass.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the compensation plan as presented for the 26-27 school year.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Carrion and a second by trustee Haddad to approve the motion as presented by administration. All in favor? Aye.
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 All opposed? Okay, motion carries 7-0. That takes us to item 7C5, discussion and possible action of the adoption of the McAllen Independent School District budget for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, the Texas Education Code and Board Policy CE requires every local education agency to prepare a budget of anticipated expenditures and revenues on or before June the 19th. The budget shall be approved by McAllen Independent School District's Board of Trustees no later than June 30th. Ms. Lorena Garcia, our Deputy Superintendent for Business and Operations, has already reported on the 26-27 budget, and we are recommending action on this item. Is there anything you want to add, Ms. Garcia?
No, sir.
Okay.
I move to approve and adopt the accelerated instruction funds budget of $196,517 for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee Haddad. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. And this is a 2-part motion.
Madam President, I move to approve and adopt, I move for approval and adoption of the general fund budget of $275,245,960 and the debt service fund budget of $12,677,845 for a total budget of $287,923,805 for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Carrion and a motion by trustee Rivera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. That takes us now to item number 9. Oh, I'm sorry, item 10.
Okay.
Action on items in closed session. 10A, discussion and possible action of the Human Resources recommendations for the school year 2025-2026. Dr. Gutierrez.
Human Resources submitted a list of recommendations for the 25-26 school year under a separate cover for discussion during closed session. Do we need a motion on this?
Yes.
Yes.
Move to
Mo-
approve.
A second.
Motion by trustee Peña, second by trustee Carrion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. 10B, discussion and possible action of human resources recommendations for the school year 2026-2027.
Human Resources submitted a list of recommendations for the 26-27 school year under a separate cover for discussion during closed session. We recommend action on this item.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by trustee Rivera, second by trustee Peña. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. 10C, discussion of human resources employee resignations and retirees for school year 2025-2026.
Human Resources submitted a list of resignations and retirees for the 25-26 school year on a separate cover for discussion during closed session, and this item is for information purposes only.
Item 10D, discussion and possible action on the recommendation of the Director of Employee Benefits and Safety Risk Management Department for the 2026-2027 school year. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration is recommending Ms. Karina Perez as Director of Employee Benefits and Safety and Risk Management.
Motion to approve superintendent's recommendation for Director of Employee Benefits and Safety Risk Management for the 2026-2027 school year.
Second.
Motion by trustee Haddad and seconded by trustee Rivera. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Congratulations, Ms. Perez.
She here?
No, she's not here.
She's watching, for sure. Item 10E, discussion and possible action of recommendation for the principal at Dr. Pablo Perez Elementary for 2026-2027 school year.
Administration is recommending Ms. Jennifer Alanis Lopez as principal at Dr. Pablo Perez Elementary for the 26-27 school year.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion by trustee De La Garza Lopez and a second by trustee Carrion.
Peña.
Benny.
I'm
I
sorry, who
think
was it?
there's multiple. so-
Okay, trustee Peña. All in favor?
Aye.
We're in
All
sync,
opposed?
Robert.
Motion carries 7-0. Congratulations, Ms. Lopez. 10F, discussion regarding school safety and security. 10FA, 2023-2026 District Safety and Security Audit Report.
No action.
10G, pending or possible litigation.
Nothing to report.
10H, possible real estate acquisition.
Same announcement.
And takes us to 11, adjournment. Is there a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by trustee Carrion, second by trustee Rivera. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And motion carries. We are adjourned at 9:19 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.